Hey, what's up? It's Coach Steph for another episode of the Fit Figure Formula podcast. If you happen to be watching the replay, hashtag replay, let me know that you're watching. Today, I'm going to be talking about the unpopular opinion that I have regarding motivation and discipline, because I think that motivation is actually better than discipline. And I'm going to explain that to you and why I think that way on today's episode. So if you have any questions about motivation, about discipline, about being consistent, or about your weight loss journey, you can drop those in the comments and I would be more than happy to double back and answer those questions for you. So, if you are new to me, my name is Coach Steph. I'm a registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. And I help female perfectionists beat self sabotage and lose the weight for good inside of my 16-week program called the Fit Figure Formula. This is my signature 16-week program where I help you to master your macros and understand how to master your mindset as well so you can get consistent. Most of us kind of know what we should be doing, but we may not be doing it on a consistent basis. And that's just thought management, being able to eventually create discipline. Yes. However, um, as I'm going to explain in today's episode, it's kind of hard just to be disciplined. So I'm going to talk more about how to kind of work your way up to being disciplined. And of course, we want to be disciplined because we want to be healthy, we want to lose weight, we want to feel good, we want to look good, and we want to be taking really good care of our body. So I'm going to talk about that today. Again, if you have questions, drop it in the chat. Few announcements first. So, number one, I'm going to be having a 7-day self love challenge this month in the month of February. So, Valentine's Day is coming up. And so you might be thinking about, what to do for your loved one, the special person in your life. But you can also be thinking about how to renew your own love for yourself. And what does that mean? So sometimes when I have clients who struggle with understanding what does it mean to love myself, what does it look like to love myself? I think I just recorded a podcast episode, matter of fact, about this. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can go back a few episodes and I talk about the keys to self love in your weight loss journey. And I'm going to be, again, having a 7-day self love challenge inside of my Facebook group. This is free. So, for anybody who is not already in my Facebook group, you should be inside so that you can participate. And for some reason, every time when I get on here, my throat start acting up. So hopefully you guys will join us. I'll give you the exact dates, but go ahead and join us now inside of the Facebook group. So you can go to the link that's in my profile. If you're on Facebook, you can go to the show notes if you're listening on the podcast. And I'll give you more details about the dates on that. Okay. Second, the Fit Figure Formula merch is out. I'm wearing I wear this a lot. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Okay. I wear my sweatshirts a lot. I have some bags. I'm making some coffee mugs, playing around with some stuff. I'm having a lot of fun with the merch, y'all. So if you are interested in getting that, you can head to the show notes or to the link that's in my bio and check that out. And then, of course, I always want to invite you inside of the Fit Figure Formula. February enrollment is coming up really soon. So you want to make sure that you apply to work with me. If you want to register dietitian in your back pocket, if you want to stop researching, if you want to stop guessing, if you want to stop taking out sugar or bread or pasta out of your diet, if you want to stop cutting out meal times because you don't know what to eat and you want a step-by-step process, I got you, but you have to apply. And you can check out the link that's pinned in the comments or in the show notes to apply to work with me inside the formula. All right. So drop y'all's questions, say hello when you hop on. I am going to dive into my notes today. Again, we're going to be talking about my unpopular opinion about why I think motivation is actually better than discipline. And I think I can change this. Let me change this title so y'all know. Yep. All right, cool. So, motivation, better than discipline. Why am I saying this? So, we have this belief that somehow motivation doesn't matter. And I think the reason why we think that is because we feel like motivation is a feeling. And I'm going to tell you how I think about motivation. So, motivation is really just the energy required to get started. That's it. It's the energy that you use to get started on a task. So, when I say the word motivation, I want you to think of it in that way. I'm not talking about a feeling. Okay. And a lot of times when we talk about self discipline, we just tell ourselves, I just need to be more disciplined. And just saying that is not helpful. It's not helpful. Like, if I just walk up to you and say, be disciplined, be more disciplined, that feels very overwhelming. It feels very vague. It's very abstract. Like, what does that exactly mean? And there is this flawed perception that discipline is a personality trait that some people have or they don't. And if you feel like I don't have that, then it's kind of hard to develop it because we don't even think of it as something to be developed. We just say, I'm not disciplined. Again, that's very vague. It's very hard to take action on that, to say, now I'm disciplined. Like, at what point is it okay for us to label ourselves as that or not? It gets really fuzzy, right? So it can also trigger all or nothing thinking because you're like, either I'm doing everything and I'm disciplined, or I missed something. So that means I'm not disciplined. So that means I'm a failure. So that means that I'll never reach my goals and I might as well just quit, right? So understanding that, number one, discipline is not a personality trait. It's something that can be developed over time, and understanding and defining what that is and what that looks like. But if I said, again, be disciplined, I can't do that today, right? I wouldn't be able to just say, yes, I'm disciplined today, as an identity statement. So I feel like when we talk about motivation, we're really talking about our willpower and our ability to use our willpower over and over and over again. And willpower, I've said this before, is not a good way to build a lifestyle. Willpower is going to fail. It is rigid and it's restrictive. So, what do we do instead? Again, we're redefining motivation as the energy required to overcome the resistance of just getting started. And that resistance sometimes looks like procrastination, negotiation, just kind of distracting yourself. And it's something that can be overcome if you're willing to think about it in that way. And if you're willing to practice catching it in the moment. So, again, motivation is not a feeling, it's the energy required to overcome the resistance and get started. So, you don't need to feel anything to take action. One of the statements that I say to myself all the time is that I don't need to feel like it to do it. And it almost like gives me permission to take action anyway. It's almost like I remember that, like, I don't even need to feel like it to put on my shoes, put on my workout gear, and go and take a walk or go get my workout started or go pick up this dumbbell and lift it up 10 times. Like, I don't need to feel like it in order to do that. And just that sentence alone helps me to get started. And once you get started, motivation kicks in. And what happens is when you get started, you start feeling like it. Every time I've ever gone to the gym when I didn't feel like it, I've never regretted it. I've never regretted going to the gym when initially I didn't feel like it. I have never gone to the gym and got absolutely nothing done. Like, at least I'm doing something, right? I'm getting in a walk. I am taking the action and the time to go to the gym. That sometimes in and of itself is a win when you're really struggling. But I think that your brain seeing you taking some action is really, really important. So, again, motivation is not a feeling, but you will feel more like it. You will feel more motivated once you overcome that barrier to getting started. And it's always easier to go from walking to running versus like if you're in your cozy, warm bed with the fan on and you need to go running. There's a lot more friction, there's a lot more resistance that's going to come from that versus you're already walking. So I want you to baby step your way to discipline and get started on something, whatever is the path of least resistance. Like, sure, there are times when you will not feel like it and you will go and you'll do a whole workout, but how you get there is by taking it in smaller chunks. Okay. So, yeah, let me know if this is making sense. I'm trying to keep up with my notes here. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, we want to make sure that we understand that we don't need to feel like it to take action and that we will actually feel like it once we get started. So, it's almost like allowing yourself a moment to get started, to build up a sweat, and then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, now I'm ready to go. Now I'm already taking action, and whatever you're doing, it's just easier to keep doing that. If you're laying in the bed, it's easier to keep laying in the bed versus overcoming the resistance to getting up, right? So we have an activation period. So think about your tasks in three parts. So there's the activation, there's the persistence, and there's the intensity. So the activation part is the hardest part. This is the decision to start the behavior. This is the decision to start your workout plan. This is your decision to go into MyFitnessPal and start pre-planning your meals or to start prepping your lunch. This is the hardest part. And a lot of times, because we're thinking about continuing, we're thinking about a complete 1 hour workout and exactly what are we going to do when we get to the gym and who's going to be there. And what if I look crazy? And what if I get there and I don't feel like being there? How hard can I go? If I don't go this hard, then maybe it won't matter anyway. And we start to get into this whole thing versus just focusing on the activation. What do I need to do in order to get started? Then we have persistence. The persistence is the continued effort despite obstacles. So how can I not only get started, but how can I continue the action for a sustained period of time? And then the intensity is how hard am I going to go while I'm going, while I'm doing the thing? How much effort am I putting in? And so think about it in these three parts. But the main thing that you have to focus on the most is the activation period. And there are two ways that I kind of think about it in terms of intrinsic motivation and then inspiration. So intrinsic motivation for me is more of like the reason why I want my goal. What's the reason why? We need to think more about this. So sometimes I will have conversations with people in my direct messages on Facebook, Instagram, and I say, well, what's your biggest struggle in your weight loss journey? And they're like, oh, I'm not motivated. And I'm like, oh, okay. So what is your motivation? Like, I can't tell you what your motivation is. This is your reason why this is important. And they may tell me that I have prediabetes, or I'm diabetic, or I want to live a longer life, or I'm feeling really fatigued right now and I would really like to have more energy, or I just want to feel proud and accomplished because right now I'm feeling like I'm failing and I don't want to feel like that, right? You have to know why this is important to you, and you have to spend more time thinking about why this is important because I can't tell you why this is important to you. You have to think about, why is it important that I reach my goal? Why is it important that I eat well? Why is it important that I take my walks and that I strength train? What is that? That comes from the inside. And then you have inspiration. Inspiration is the external factors such as rewards, praise, compliments from other people. For me, a big inspiration, honestly, is just seeing other people in the position that I would like to be in, whether it's this person has a great body. I always tell y'all, what is her name? I think her name is Jenna DeLeon on Instagram. I just love watching her work out. And when I see that, it takes me 5-10 seconds to watch. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's go to the gym. It fires me up because I see that motivates me. Now, for some of you, that demotivates you when you see other people who are really fit, who, they're showing a snippet of their lives on Instagram and it looks like they're having the time of their life. They're in really good shape. It looks like their life is perfect. And you start to get down on yourself. So that wouldn't be what you would go to. But for me, that is really inspiring. And I'm like, every time I see her working out, I'm like, oh, I want to try this exercise that she did. That works for me. If that doesn't work for you, then that's not the thing for you, right? You have to see, this is that relationship with yourself. What works for you is not going to work for everybody. So the inspiration, I think, is also really important. You have to know, like, how do you get to inspire yourself? Are you listening to something motivating on YouTube, just like a motivational speech? Are you looking at workouts? Like, if I see somebody working out, it inspires me, especially if they're working out hard. And I've had this happen a few times where people are just like regulars in my gym. You go to the gym. I go to the gym a lot. So see some of the same people. They're in there day after day. And sometimes you see somebody, they're going to be working hard. They're in there sweating. They're getting it. And it just fires me up. And so in my mind, they're like my workout partner. I'm like, oh, where's so-and-so? I'm like, oh, there she is. Okay, let's go. And I see someone working hard, that inspires me to make sure that I'm also working hard and trying to be the best person that I can be too. And so knowing what that is for you. So you have your intrinsic motivation, the internal reason why this is important to you, and then inspiration, knowing what you need to do, whether it's music, a podcast, saying your affirmations in the mirror, like whatever you need to be doing, you need to know how to inspire yourself to take action. And it really just goes back to why this is important. So knowing your why, I know it's very cliche. But it's so important to understand why this even matters and make it bigger than just you. Make it bigger than just like, I want to look good in a bikini, because for a lot of y'all, that ain't enough, because you can still go to the beach and have fun. Even if, you're not at your goal weight on the beach, you can still go and have fun. So sometimes that's not enough, right? So, motivation and inspiration, that's kind of how I think about it. And then here's how we use motivation to build discipline. So discipline is not something that you're going to magically wake up with. Okay. It's built through repeated action. So again, if you can get started, you can continue the task. And when you continue the task, it's almost like you're generating more and more energy, and you can increase the intensity that you need. And if you do that again and again, you are building self-discipline. So if you focus on getting started every day, you'll eventually become self-disciplined. And some of the ways that you can make this easier, I'm going to give you 3 tips. Number 1, setting up your environment for success. So we want to reduce the friction between what we want to do and actually getting started. So I say this example all the time. If you want to eat better, healthier snacks, you need to have better, healthier snacks available in your environment versus having Oreos and donuts out on the counter, because that's what you're going to eat. That's what you're going to grab more often if that's what's readily available. If you keep the let's say the chocolate or the chips or whatever your vice is out in your downstairs or your basement refrigerator, or if you have a garage and you have like a deep freezer in there and you put your ice cream in there instead, it's like still in your house, but it's a little bit more effort for you to go and get to it. So you're not going to have that as much as if that pint of ice cream is sitting right on the top shelf of your refrigerator in your main kitchen, and you open up the freezer and it's there every time. You're going to remind yourself, oh yeah, I have ice cream. And now your brain starts to be like, oh, maybe I do want some ice cream. Right. And so we just want to put distance in between the things that are not going to serve our goals as much. I never tell my clients not to have something, but it is important for you to set up your environment for you to be successful. So one of the first things we do inside the formula, I have my clients do a kitchen detox, which essentially is we are either getting rid of the things that are not serving our goals. We give them away. You can, throw things out. I know we don't like to throw things out a lot, but if you're just going to consume it and it's contributing to weight gain, high blood sugar, it's really not worth it. Okay. You can give it away though, if you wanted to. And then also the things that you don't necessarily get rid of, you can actually put in the back of your freezer, in the bottom of your refrigerator, in the back of the pantry, so that it's not so visually like in plain sight, so that it doesn't remind you. You don't want to visually cue yourself to eat something that is not going to be helpful for your goals. Okay. And this also works for like workout clothes. I like to do this. This works a lot with my clients. But whether or not they sleep in their workout clothes, or if they just have them out and ready so that when they get up in the morning to go work out, they don't have to dig through their drawer and make a whole bunch of decisions. It's already there. They can just put on their clothes. Okay, so setting up your environment for success. That could also look like your favorite chair that you sit in every afternoon or evening, taking that bowl of chocolate that's right there and putting it somewhere else. Okay, because you're just going to grab chocolate if it's right there. And then 2, using timers and taking some small action steps. The 5-minute rule works, y'all. I don't know why it works, but there is something about our brain that can give a yes to 5 minutes. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that for 5 minutes. So literally telling Siri, telling, your Google or Alexa or whatever, set a timer for 5 minutes and let me get started on this habit. Let me get started on this task. And I can just do that for 5 minutes. So if you are procrastinating or you just kind of dread planning your meals. I was just having a call with a client a few minutes ago about planning her meals. And she's like, yeah, I kind of hate it. And I'm like, okay, I gave her some strategy tips in terms of like how to make it simpler. So you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from a template instead. But then also it's just like, okay, how can I couple this with something that is enjoyable, like music, or couple it with a timer where I'm just telling my brain, just get started for 5 minutes. And once you get started, again, it's easier to continue that momentum once you have gotten started, but you have to get over that activation period. And then number 3, adopting some power thoughts to overcome the resistance. So thinking like, I don't feel like it. This was a self-sabotaging thought that one of my clients had. And she would think this all the time. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. And just giving herself permission, like, I don't have to feel like it to do it. I don't have to feel like it to do it. Or one of my power thoughts is like, how can I have a great workout anyway? How can I do this anyway, even if I don't necessarily want to right now? Or I deserve the result of doing this. Like whatever your power thought is, whatever sentence that is going to get you over the hump, over that resistance of getting started, I want you to adopt that. And every time you notice that you're procrastinating, negotiating, or distracting yourself, you can remember that one powerful thought that links you to your emotional why, your powerful why, and you can just get started. So don't wait for a perfect moment. A lot of times we're waiting for like a perfect moment in time to where things feel settled, and you'll probably be waiting a lot longer than you want to if you're waiting for the perfect moment. Taking action first. Take action first, and the feeling will follow later. Okay, so really shifting the focus from I need to be disciplined to how can I just get started? That feels so much more doable than I need to be disciplined to I just need to get started on this task. It's much more clear how to take action and how to move forward if you think of it in that way. So yeah, let me know if this is making sense, okay? Put it in the chat, put it in the comments. Let me know if this made sense. I hope so. So if you understood that, if that was helpful for you, I want you to consider applying to the Fit Figure formula. I give you a blueprint to focus on. I tell you exactly what to do every single day for the next 16 weeks, where you can take bite-sized, actionable steps every single day without worrying about the future, without worrying about how long you're going to be able to do this. You just got to focus on getting started. And some of you can use that to help you. Go to the link in the show notes, go to the link in the comments and apply, because some of you have been watching me for a long time and you're like, okay, yes, I'm going to do that. And you're waiting for this perfect moment, or you're waiting for me to say, this magical thing. And I'm like, you know what? You've heard me talk before. You know the information, and information has not transformed your life. It's the implementation that is going to transform your life. So if you want help doing that, all you got to do is focus on getting started. And getting started means going to the link in my profile, going to the link that's pinned in the comments, going to the show notes, and clicking the link to apply. We'll get on a one-on-one, no pressure call so we can talk about how I can help you inside of the formula, and how I can help you start taking more action and then become that disciplined person that you want to be, that has the goal, that is, she's lighter, she's has more energy, she is feeling healthier, she's teaching her children more about how to live a healthy lifestyle, her A1C is lower, she's not on medication, and she's doing what it takes to help herself feel more proud and accomplished. So let me check the comments, y'all. Let me just see. Y'all let me know if you have any questions about that. Hey, Jill. Thanks for watching. All right. I don't see any comments. So I will be back. I was sick. I was so sick. I think it was Friday. I was so sick, and I was supposed to do this live then. So I'm kind of doing a little makeup. And I will be back again sometime this week to do another live. So be on the lookout for that. Do not forget, if you're not in my Facebook group, make sure you join if you want to do the 7-day self-love challenge, and apply to work with me inside the formula. Oh, I think I missed. Hello, Jonathan. Thanks for watching. All right, y'all. Have a good one.